Good evening and assalamu alaikum, everybody. Uh, I will begin by saying that I look like a terrorist. I assure you I'm a gentleman. Uh, having said that, uh, I have no statistics to offer. I have to share with you a story. And the story begins with me being a small little child and my father telling me that the only thing that will ever get you from point A to point B is education. And in education, the first thing that you must concentrate on is language. So the language that you speak, whichever language that you speak, has to be perfect for the land in which you are. So that's the first lesson. I did not understand the implication of this till I became a refugee, till my father was killed and I had to flee from the land of my birth and make my way across different hostile lands to reach some measure of safety. First-hand experience of standing in a refugee line with my mother to take food, to take equivalent of $2 a month to survive. That is at the age of 11. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this and sharing this with you is because I can talk about it. I can give you statistics of refugee children and how many refugees are in different parts of the world, but that's available on Google and you can get it. I want to say that there is something that we are missing when we talk about education for refugee children. When I went, nobody gave me, supported me. There was nobody to tell me that we'll pay for your education or the government will help you. I was a stranger in a strange land and I had to sleep on the footpaths at night and get up in the morning to work and then strive for education and then go for education. I had to do it on my own. Nobody gave me a handout. And that is the primary reason why I became successful, because I learned to stand on my own 2 feet. Now, let me tell you a funny tale over here. I used to study at Faujdar Cadet College. And Faujdar Cadet College was then in East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. It was the premier college, premier military institution. And I was a cadet over there. And there was a Momin Shahi Cadet College, and there was another student over there. One day in a strange country, in a different country, where we both had escaped, we were both sleeping on the same footpath. And I heard him strumming a guitar because he was a guitar player. And he put the guitar under his head and he was strumming his guitar. And suddenly the memory came back that I had heard him in an inter-college function, Cadet College, Faujdar and Momin Shahi Cadet College. And I looked up and there was Alamgir Haq. And Alamgir Haq was sleeping on the same footpath as me under a dusty, dark sky. And he was strumming his guitar. And we both got up, 10, 11, he was 2 years older than me. So I was 11, he was probably 13. We hugged each other like long lost brothers. And that day we made a promise to ourselves. He said he's going to become a pop singer. And he became an international pop singer. He now lives in Canada and he's still recognized as one of the finest pop singers. And I promised him that I'm going to be somebody. I don't know what, but I'll be somebody. Now, why I'm telling you this story is not to brag, but I'm telling you this story, sharing this story with you, is because all the education in refugee camps is centered on traditional education. The mindset of a refugee kid is not traditional book and copy and A for apple and B for boy and C for cat. The mindset of a refugee, he has already lost everything in his life. He's got nothing to look forward to. He probably doesn't even know where his mother or sisters, as I didn't know where my mother and sister were. My dad was killed and I didn't know where everybody else was. And with 10 rupees, at that time the currency was rupees, 10 rupees given to me by the mothers of St. Francis in Dhaka. That is how, with that 10 rupees, I started my life and the clothes on my back. So we have to inculcate in the refugee kids, we have to, desperate times call for desperate measures. Kids are going into refugee camps. We are insisting, people are insisting, agencies with all the goodwill in the world, with all the best intentions in the world, are concentrating on traditional education. The kids in the refugee camps force them to learn the education, to learn the language of the land in which they are. Because even after getting out of the refugee camps, they are still mental refugees because they cannot speak French or German or Turkish or Urdu or whatever, whichever country they are in. So insist on educating them on languages. Insist on giving them education on which will help them to stand on their own 2 feet. Rather than give them traditional education, traditional education, they will go back into a society that is already hostile. That is where they will always be second-class citizens. So they have to, these are facts. These are ugly facts, but they are facts. No matter what we do, the society in which they have to assimilate, until they can assimilate with the language, until they can assimilate with the customs, they will always be second-class citizens over there. And they will grow up with a handicap and an inferiority complex. And that is the last thing that we want. So with all the good intentions in the world, we have to reorientate, recalibrate our focus. Now, your platform of international refugee children education, and I agree that if we can add the word training over there in some form or manner to the education, that would be brilliant. I strongly support your idea. I strongly support. I am here in Qatar, and for last 15 years, Qatar is home. And I have my own institute where we must have trained more than 1 million people in 11 different countries in the last 15 years that I've been here. And in whichever way we can support you, we will support you. I want to walk my talk. So therefore, we will support you in whatever way we can. But we have to recalibrate, reorientate the type of education that we are talking about. The day idea of a separate day, excellent idea. And my good wife used to tell me, Shaukat, you talk too much, shut up. So I'm going to shut up. But before I shut up, I'm going to add one more thing over here. And that is that we have to give these young people a type of a personality development program. Because they are already inferiority complex, they are refugees, they grow up with a big question mark on their head. No amount of education is going to get them a job if they cannot present themselves. No amount of education is going to get them a job if they cannot sell themselves. So we have to give them education that will help them stand on their own feet, make them savvy, smart enough to talk, to present themselves, and we have to make this known as best as we can. I'm very grateful to you, my young friend SM Zillur Rahman, for inviting me. Looking at this is the first time I'm talking to you like this, and it's such a pleasure to see the good work that you are doing. I'm grateful to the excellencies and the distinguished panel that is here. I will just take this opportunity to thank the ambassador, His Excellency, the Ambassador of Nepal, because when my mother and my sisters were refugees in your country and your countrymen helped them. And if your countrymen had not helped them, my mother and sisters may not have survived. So, sir, you are a great country, you're a great nation, and thank you very much, sir. God bless you. God bless you.